So without further ado, let us spin the wheel and see what's the first deck we're going to be playing today. Whew, we narrowly avoided burn. It is Mill this time. So, Mill is a blue-black control / aggro deck, sort of a hybrid between the two, that looks to mill out the opponent, get them down from 60 to 0 as fast as possible. Uses Hedron Crab and Ruin Crab as 1-drops that get landfall triggers to mill 3 each time, which doubles up with fetch lands, of course. Has Tasha's Hideous Laughter to exile cards until you hit mana value 20 total. Fractured Sanity to mill 14 or 4 if you cycle it. And Archive Trap to mill 13, and you can play it for free if your opponent searches their deck. Now, what if your opponent is playing a deck that doesn't have any searching, so they don't play fetch lands? Well, you have Field of Ruin, which forces your opponent to search their deck, so you always have a way to turn Archive Trap on. Other things are, of course, the One Ring is in this deck now because it's everywhere. Surgical Extraction can be main decked because since you're milling your opponent's stuff over, if you're playing a combo deck or a deck that relies on 1 or maybe 2 specific cards like Tron or Yawgmoth, if you happen to randomly mill one of those cards over, you can simply surgical it and then their entire deck falls apart. Fatal Push and Drown in the Loch as removal / counter spells to interact with the opponent. And then some other things to note in the lands, of course, Manamo with the One Ring untaps that to draw more cards. Oboro can bounce itself, meaning with Oboro, you always have a land drop for Ruin Crab and Hedron Crab. 1 copy of Otawara, and then the rest of the mana base is fairly straightforward. Sideboard is the last Surgical Extraction and Extirpates for more of those combo matchups when needed. Crypt Incursion for aggro decks that rely on damage so that you can mill your opponent out a whole bunch of cards and then you exile all the creatures from their graveyard and gain 3 per, so you have more time to survive. Murderous Cut, and then Graveyard Hate and Soul Guide Lantern, EE, and then Demolition Field as a 5th copy of Field of Ruin for land-based decks like Tron and some such. But other than that, it is pretty straightforward, so let us jump into the first league. All right, round 1 on the play with Mill. We have double Ruin Crab with 2 lands, one of which is Oboro. We don't have the black mana for Drown in the Loch, but I think this is fine overall. So I will keep this, and let's just go ahead and pop out the opponent's graveyard here. We're going to be wanting to do that with every match. All right, Island, Ruin Crab. Pass the turn. So some of the best draws you can get with Mill are the double Crabs draws. Opponent has Polluted Delta, fetches, Blood Crypt, plays Ragavan, which we can block nicely, of course. But it looks like we're playing Scam, probably. All right, so now let's play the second Crab, and then just play this Watery Grave tapped, and then trigger the Crabs. All right, yeah, so we're playing against Scam. Well, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Swamp, plays Dothy Voidwalker, and has no attacks, so passes it back to us. Oh no, they're just going to attack anyway? Well, I'll block. I guess so if they have Fury, they can go drop it down, hit 1 here, 3 here, and then... But we're just not going to not block, so... All right, if you can Fury us, you can Fury us. Yep, they have a Fury. That is very unfortunate. So we lose the Crabs. They exiled Pyromancer to do that. Well, there's Archive Trap, so I could Tasha's them right now, but I think it's probably better to stem the bleeding and drown one of these 2 creatures. So play Oboro. So let's say I go Tasha's. They have a lot of expensive cards with the Griefs and Furies in their deck. It alone is not going to kill them. So it's probably best to just hold Drown and kill, in all likelihood, Dothy Voidwalker. I would kill Ragavan, but if I kill Ragavan, then Dothy gets to exile the Drown in the Loch, and then they can drown our own spells. So yeah, let's just pass here, holding up Drown in the Loch and drown Dothy. Opponent plays Polluted Delta. All right, they go to combat. All right, let's drown Dothy. Fetching, getting a Blood Crypt. All right, so Dothy gets hit. I guess I should Archive Trap now in case they flip Drown in the Loch off the... No, I guess that doesn't matter, right? Because they can't counter it anyway. All right, so we take 2 from Ragavan. What do they exile? They exile an island. Opponent plays Season Pyro. They discard Terminate Verdant Catacombs. All right, now let's go ahead and Archive Trap them. Milling over a whole bunch of more stuff. Back to us. All right, didn't draw a land, so now we'll just Tasha's. We exiled 11 cards, so they're still a fair ways away. I have to have them get fetched again so we can Archive Trap them again. And what do we exile? A bunch of stuff. All right. Well, pass it back to the opponent. All right. They are playing a fetch land. Attacking us for 5. We go to 13. Ragavan exiles Field of Ruin. All right. They fetched. Excellent. So now they only have 14 cards left in their deck. They're casting another Pyromancer. All right. So I'm just going to trap them in response and then they lose the game. Oh, no. They're exiling Pyromancer from their graveyard. I thought they were casting another one. Regardless, they're going to deck out before they can kill us. So, all right, going into game 2, the best thing they do is scam their elementals back into play, which means our free surgical extractions are great against that. Oh, what else? Murderous Cut to kill their creatures. Our deck is actually pretty well set up to just kill them. So what can I side out here? Probably Tasha's is not so great when their deck is filled with all of these expensive Evoke elementals. I can cut that. And then, Soul Guide, maybe one Soul Guide Lantern. That seems decent enough. All right, let's submit that. All right, well, this is a pretty good opening hand. We've got a Crab. We've got multiple removal spells to interact with them. We've got Surgical to take them off. Oh, I guess we can't actually take them off their scam if it's Grief. All right, well, I'm going to keep this. Opponent is mulling to 5. So we can only Surgical their Furies out of the grave if they do that, if they scam Furies in. Opponent fetches. Blood Crypt, of course. Opponent has disconnected, so we will wait for them. All right, they're back. There was a mill deck that 5-0'd in Legacy, so I tried that first 2 rounds against Euron decks and decided it's miserable in Legacy. All right, they're Thought Seizing us. I'm not going to Surgical their land, so yeah, Thought Seize resolves. I would assume they would just take the crab. Maybe they just take the removal spells and don't care about our 1 crab. All right, they took Surgical. All right, back to us. So let's go Watery Grave Crab pass. Shock this in, play the crab, pass the turn. All right, they are doing nothing, passing back to us. All right, Scalding Tarn, trigger, opponent mill 3, and then I don't see any reason. I guess I'll just fetch it during their upkeep. So they've milled over land, Feign Death. All right, pass to you. Fetch in the upkeep. Grab an island. Crab triggers. They mill Thoughtseize, Pyromancer, Grief. Played Bloodstained Mire. They crack it, get a swamp, and now they're just passing back to us, eh? All right. Dothy Voidwalker. I don't actually need to drown this because I can just Fatal Push it, so that's fine. Fatal Push. All right, Dothy dies. Go back to us. So let me think here. If I Field of Ruin their Blood Crypt, then I'm not holding up Drown anymore. Yeah, okay, so let's just go land, mill you, and then let's fetch now, getting a swamp, milling them again, and now we get to hold up Drown plus Push or Drown plus Murderous Cut. All right, they milled over land, Grief. So we'll pass it back, holding up interaction. Opponent casts Ragged or dashes a Ragavan, that's fine. All right, we'll just kill that. Fatal Push the Ragavan. All right, back to us. So Field of Ruin, mill you, and then I'm going to stop in their draw step. All right, Field of Ruin this. We field the Blood Crypt. Let's grab another island, mill another 3, and then they continue. All right, we beat Scam. On to round 2. All right, round 2. We are on the draw. We have a crab and enough lands, and we have double Tasha's Archive Trap. We have 0 interaction, though, but I'm not going to pitch this back, so I will keep. All right, opponent shocks into Steam Vents, and then just passes it back to us. So I'm not going to not play the crab, even though it exposes it to removal. It's going to be exposed to removal regardless of when we play it. They could have just shocked this in case they want to cast Consider or something. So let's just go Manamo, Hedron Crab, and then pass it back. All right, they are just killing it. I could have waited a turn since I didn't necessarily have a turn 2 play, but I think that's fine. Ooh, Dwarven Mine. So is this creativity then? Well, let's play this tapped and pass it back. We do have double Archive Traps. All right, they don't have a 3rd land. So, okay, Field of Ruin next turn. So this turn, let's go Tasha's. Cast Tasha's. They have a Spell Pierce. All right, well, pass it back. Seems like they're still bricking on lands. Well, I'm going to try to just Tasha's them again. I guess I can do what? I don't have to Tasha's this turn. I can Field of Ruin this turn, double Archive Trap them, and then have Tasha's plus Drown next turn. Yeah, that's probably better. So let's go Field of Ruin, stop them on their draw step. All right, Field, kill the Steam Vents, and then let's grab an island. All right, they still don't have anything, so let's Archive Trap them. Run in 6, Leyline Binding, Fable, Prismatic, Archive Trap again. There's Archon, another Archon. So 2 Archons are down. All right, So if I want to hold up Drown in the Lot, I guess they don't have blue mana anymore, right? So let's just Tasha's them. Blue, blue, black. 7 cards entered exile. Archon, Archon. They're out of Archons. They have no Archons anymore. Play Hedron Crab. All right, yeah, we win. All right, so creativity. We want all the extraction effects we can get to just eat all of their guys. But I think that's it. Fatal Push is not necessarily a dead card because it can kill the dwarf tokens, but we can never really keep them off of it forever. So, it's probably better to just cut Fatal Push and just try to extract the Archons. EE for the token. Yeah, EE for the tokens has to be good. And then what else to cut? Tasha's is at its absolute worst here when they have 8 mana Archons in their deck. So we can cut that. All right, let's run this back. All right, we've got Crab, EE, Archive Trap, Fractured Sanity, 3 lands. Seems good. Opponent has a fetch land, so we're going to get to Archive Trap them. All right, I guess it's best to run... Is it best to run EE out now? No, it's better to run it out next turn. All right, so play the Ruin Crab. I didn't see Persist in any of those cards that we milled or exiled, so I'm going to assume that they don't have Persist. Getting a Steam Vents. They're casting Stern Scolding on our Crab. All right, let's Archive Trap them. They milled over Flusterstorm, turn the Earth with Flashback. All right, 1 Archon, so pass the turn back. So they can turn the Earth to put Archon back in their deck. Opponent fetches, grabs a Stomping Ground, plays Renin 6. All right, gets back Dwarven Mine. All right, so let's play EE this turn while they don't have counter spells up. I guess I could play it for 2 to kill Renin 6, but that doesn't seem great. So, okay, cast this for 0. And then I'm going to fetch a Watery Grave so that I can just cast Sanity next turn. All right, pass. I guess I'm not necessarily cast... Yeah, I probably... You know what? I should just cycle Fractured Sanity. Run in 6, get back a land. Shock and Steam... Or no, tap in Steam Vents. All right, fetch, Watery Grave, cycle this. All right, they milled Jace the Mind Sculptor, among other things. Well, there's a second EE. All right, there's Archive Trap. So let's just go Island, pass. I'm going to hold these fetch lands for now in case we draw crabs. Opponent end step puts Dwarven Mine, Archon, and Teferi back in their hand by flashing, or back in their deck by flashing back Turn the Earth. That's fine. Oh, they do shuffle their library by doing this though, right? Or no, they don't search though. All right, so yeah, that resolves. Then take their turn. Renin 6 plus on a land. Scalding Tarn. Fetch. Dwarven Mine. Yep. Fable the Mirror Breaker. I'm probably popping these and then just playing the other EE. All right. Archive Trap you. Mills over. Bolt Creativity. Archon. A bunch of other stuff. Yeah, all right. I'm going to pop these and then play EE. All right. Take our... Ooh. Well, that does give them a window to creativity. Also, if they have Spell Pierce, this doesn't work. But just playing EE and passing back seems bad. All right, let's go Delta, fetch a Swamp, then play the Ring. All right, they do have the Spell Pierce. Unfortunate. Well, not paying for it. Cast EE for 0. So if they have creativity now, they can just creativity. I could have just played EE and held it up, but then I'm just allowing them to develop their board, and then they're going to start hitting us with the Shaman token. All right, they didn't play a Dwarven Mine, so they do not have creativity. Well, we're just drawing nothing, so... At this point, I'm not even going to play these. Maybe I should play 1 in case I draw like Archive Trap and I have to hardcast it and get it through Spell Pierce. All right, just play a land, pass the turn. So now, unfortunately, one of their Fables is going to flip. They're bolting us. Okay. So one of the Fable flips and they also get to discard stuff. There's 3 of the Archons are in their graveyard. Renin 6 Emblems. All right, are we just dead then to bolt? I'm probably forced to just EE on end step so we don't take a bajillion damage. So they have bolt in their graveyard. All right. I'll take 1 hit from this and then pop it end step. All right, down to 11. 1 mana. Okay, Retrace Bolt hit us. Retracing Bolt again, we're at 5. Retracing Bolt again, we're at 2. All right, do they have another land? Looks like it. All right, so they had 4 lands in their hand. Well, sideboard games, I'm pretty sure exactly the same loadout here. Yeah, same exact loadout seems fine. Submit. On the play. All right, we have 2 surgical effects, but we have 0 mill. That's not capable. Mulligan. All right, EE ring, 2 surgical effects, Drown in the Lock. We unfortunately can't play Drown in the Lock because we have Field of Ruin. The alternative is go to 5. So what? I keep this and put Extirpate on the bottom. The fact that there's no mill in this hand is just a big problem. I can't cast Drown either. I just have to hope to draw lands. Having to hope to draw lands is also pretty bad. I think I have to mull. All right, we're at 5, so keep this. 3 lands are definite keep. I don't need double EE, so I can put 1 of them back. And then I still don't have any mill effects, so I guess just Extirpate goes. Yeah, so unfortunate. Well, let's see. If I have EE, that's going to line up really poorly with the ring. All right, I'm gonna bin the EE. And then we'll just play fetch land and go fetch a Watery Grave. The same turn I would want to hold up EE is the same turn I'm going to want to play the ring, so there's no reason to keep EE in hand at the moment. I need to just try to find mill spells and then Extirpate the stuff out of their deck. All right, there's another ring. So play a land, pass. Opponent did not fetch. Plays another fetch, passing it back to us. All right, well, there's Archive Trap, so let's play Field of Ruin. So the moment they fetch, I can Archive Trap them. Opponent fetches, gets Stomping Ground, untapped, bolts us. That's fine. Fetches again. All right, I'm going to do it now. Archive Trap you. We hit Archon and we hit Indomitable. So let's just Extirpate Indomitable. Extirpating creativity. Actually, cancel. Hang on. I should Field of Ruin this and grab a swamp. No, that's not correct. Let's just do this. Extirpate your creativities. All right, so they have one in their hand. So their hand is Bolt, Bolt, Archon, Land, Land. So we'll take this. We'll take this. We'll take this. And then the rest of their deck is... So they do not have other bombs. So they just have Archon. If we get to turn 8 without killing them, then yeah, that's fine. What else do they have in their deck? They have 1 Stern Scolding, 1 Flusterstorm, 4 Spell Pierce, and so we can lose to Run in 6 or Fable possibly, but that's pretty much it. All right. And then they finish resolving their fetch. We also milled out Foundry and Steam Vents, so they're also going to be pretty low on... Okay, so they're going to bolt us. That's fine. So I can field their Stomping Ground probably. Arid Mesa. And then they're just going to pass it back to us. We drew another ring. All right, I'm going to stop them on their draw step and hit Stomping Ground. All right, so they're going to bolt us. We're at 10. Fetch. Grabbing Jetmir's Garden. Well, I'll hit that. Hit the garden. Is there any reason to grab a swamp versus an island? All right, just grab a swamp. They have a mountain, and then continue. All right, there's Ren in 6. Unfortunate. So now they're going to what? It's Dwarven Mine Beatdown dot plan. All right, so Dwarven Mine. We really need to draw lands at this point. We're not drawing lands. Well, pass it back to the opponent. Well, there's Bloodstained Mire. Ooh, fetching. Excellent. Another Dwarven Mine. So yeah, they're on Dwarf Beatdown. Take 1 from the Dwarf, go to 9. Run in 6 plussing on Jetmir's Garden. Cycle Jetmir's Garden. All right, Archive Trap. They milled over a whole bunch of things, including Turn the Earth. And another Dwarven Mine. All right, please draw a land. Nope, but we did draw Tasha's, so this might do it. We're already down 3 Archons. So I guess they can, in response, Turn the Earth, put the Archons back in their deck so that they have more, yeah. So they're going to choose Archon, Jace, and Fable. Sure. Then resolve Tasha's. All right, they're down to 7 cards. So we have to draw either another mill spell or a land for the ring. All right, dwarves attack us. We go to 7. He can pick up another Dwarven Mine and play it, and then they'll have... No, they're just targeting us with Ren in 6. They are also getting close to being able to just cast Archon in their hand. All right, well, they fetched and had no legal targets to find, so that's good. All right, they're passing it back to us. Well, we drew Extirpate, so... So what actual lands do they have in their graveyard? They have Steam Vent, Sacred Foundry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 3 turns away from being able to actually cast an Archon, although I don't think they even have another black source, right? At least seemingly not at the moment. So I guess let's just stop them on their draw step and extirpate probably Dwarven Mine out of the graveyard so they can't put more pressure on the board. Although between these 2 dwarves and Ren in 6, they can just do 3 to us per turn. So in that case, what's the better hit? Spell Pierce? I should hit Spell Pierce so that if I draw a land, I can resolve the ring. Which means in that case, I don't actually need to stop them on their draw. All right, so pass the turn. They have all 4 bolts in their graveyard. They also have Turn the Earth, but anything that mills them is probably going to mill more cards than what this can handle. Maybe I'm supposed to just hit this. All right, let's pass and see what they do. End step, Cycle Rogren. Okay. They're at 4 cards left in their, or 5 cards left in their library. They're down 3 Spell Pierces. So they attack us with the dwarves. We go to 4. Ren in 6 is pinging us. They play a land, which I assume can't find anything. Fable the Mirror Breaker. So we're dead on board unless we draw a land for ring. All right, in that case, I'm going to extirpate Spell Pierce, right? That's got to be the only choice. Extirpate Spell Pierce so that we can play rings, 3 rings in a row, unmolested. All right, so they do have they have a Spell Pierce in the library, so their hand is Ren in 6, 2 Archons, and then the rest of their library is Ren to Fairy. So exile that. Exiling... I guess they don't have another Spell Pierce in their graveyard, so that's it. All right, so we absolutely need to draw land or EE right now. What do we hit? Ruin Crab. So I'm dead, because now I block this and take 2 and then lethal. How unfortunate. Is this what burn players feel like when they get their opponent down to 3 life and then they just don't draw a burn spell? All right, round 3 with Mill on the play. Crab, lands, ring, surgical. Seems fine. All right, island, ruin crab, go. Copperline Gorge, Hardened Scales. Okay. Well, ooh, Archive Trap too. All right, Polluted Delta, trigger. Opponent mills over Zabaz, Inkmoth, Copperline. I don't want to surgical any of that. What is something I would absolutely want to surgical? Probably Ballista. So fetch. Whether I shock this in or not is irrelevant. It's the same amount of life, so let's just not shock it in. Trigger the Ruin Crab. Mill 3 Urza Sagas. Wow. All right, pass. Opponent plays a second Copperline. Plays Ozolith the Shattered Spire. Still, they don't have any creatures on the board. All right. So let's go Field of Ruin. Trigger this. They mill over Shadow Spear, Patchwork, Ancient Stirrings. All right, so let's stop them in their draw step. And let's go Field of Ruin, and then Archive Trap, and then see if I want to surgical anything. All right, Field of Ruin, a land. Mill trigger again. They milled over this, and this. All right, Archive Trap. All right, they milled over Ballista. They milled over 2 Ballistas. No Arcbound Ravager. I probably just get Ballista out of their deck. That's the fastest way for them to kill us, other than Ravager. So let's surgical Ballista. All right, they do have a Ballista in their hand. So their hand is 2 more Scales, Ozolith, Hangerback Walker. What's in the rest of their deck? They're not even playing... Oh, no, they are playing Ravager. Okay. All right. And now they can proceed. So they play Pendelhaven, play Scales. And if I were them, I assume I would just run out everything, right? Okay, they're just going to run out Hangerback now. It has 4 counters. Ooh, another Crab. They have 23 cards left in their deck. What can they do next turn? They can just put a bunch of counters on the Hangerback Walker, and that's it, though. So I can go Crab, land, next turn play the Ring. Let's see. Ozolith adds a counter to it, but it's actually going to add Scales. It's actually going to add 4 or 5 counters to it. So yeah, let's just go Crab and then Ring. Play Crab. Play Island. Trigger. So they milled 3 Ravagers in a row. Okay. Well, pass the turn. All right, they play land. They're going to play all these cards this turn. Second Scales. Yep. Ozolith. Put a bunch of counters here. So they have a 9 counter Hangerback. Now they attack us. That's fine. No blocks. We go to 10. All right. Take our turn. Well, 2 rings back to back. All right. Ring. Draw card. There's Fatal Push. I definitely don't want to push that, though, because then they have a bajillion Thopters. All right. They milled some more, and then I guess we just pass the turn. They can't damage us anyway. They play Ravager. All right. So now they can sack and go nuts, right? So does it matter whether I push this now or later? I guess I'm just going to push Ravager, right? All right. Yeah, Ravager's good. Putting a bunch of counters here. All right, let's just push this now. All right, sacking, and then a bunch of stuff happens. 9 Thopters. Ozolith gets 10 counters on it. And then sack that. Bunch more stuff goes on the stack. There's going to be a really, really big Thopter. Man, look at all these triggers. All right, 21 counters on the Ozolith. 14 counters on the Thopter token. Then the Ozolith triggers. And then they're going to put 25 counters on this Thopter. Yeah. All right, take 1 from the Ring. Go to 9. We would have to be very unlucky not to be able to win here. We can just double. If we find any fetch land, we win. If we find any mill spell, we win. Or just rings. Draw more. Double Archive Trap, which we can't use. So let's just run another ring out. Keep this ring. Let's draw. Drew a land. All right, play a land. Triggers. They go to 3 cards left in their deck. They are playing Patchwork Automaton. Sure. All right. Another Thopter becomes very large. Ring trigger, go to 8. Here's Delta. Mill out the rest of your deck. All right. Game 2. What do I want against Scales? EE? What else? All their creatures have modular or like make Thopters when they die. So Fatal Push is okay. Tasha's is probably great. So the main thing to surgical out of their deck is either Scales itself or Ballista. I don't know if that means I want more surgical effects. I probably don't. What do I bring in? All right, what are the cuts? They don't actually search their deck that much, right? They have Urza's Saga to search, but that's the only search effect they have. So it's Urza's Saga and Field of Ruining them is the only way they search their deck. That's probably still fine, though. Maybe I cut Fractured Sanity? All right, let's do that. Game 2, we have a Crab, we have EE, we have some mill spells and the Ring. Looks fine to me. Keep this hand. Opponent plays Copperline, Zabaz. Well, there's Field of Ruin, so let's go Ruin Crab. Is it better to run out EE on 1? EE on 1 lets me pop the EE next turn if I want to kill Zabaz plus Scales. And I can always just play the Crab anyway if I want to. Now let's go EE for 1. Pass the turn. Urza's Saga. All right, there's the Archive Trap. Ozolith Shattered Spire. They attack us for 1. We go to 19. All right, well, what happens next turn? They go land, make a construct. Even if I pop EE, then this dies, puts 2 counters on the construct, so I'd have to pop it now. I don't really want to pop it now. I want them to get like more Scales and whatnot. So let's just play Ruin Crab and then Watery Grave tapped. All right, they mill some stuff. They milled Haywire Might, so they can't grab that off Saga now. There's a Saga up to 2 counters. Karplusan Forest. They're not going to make a construct, so they're just going to play another 2-drop. Walking Ballista, sure. This costs 2 to activate. This can blow itself up. So they're blowing itself up. They should have attacked first. Yeah, they should have attacked first. So now they're going to spend 3 counters to get rid of Ruin Crab. Okay. So let's see. I can Field of Ruin and blow this up right now. What can they grab that would be a really big problem? They could grab Pithing Needle and name EE. Probably the worst thing they could go tutor for. They could also just tutor for the Ozolith. but it doesn't make much sense for them to do that if I already have an EE on 1 in play. So it's basically like, do I want a Field of Ruin now and get Archive Trap? It prevents them from making a construct. That's probably correct, even though it's the least mana efficient thing I can do. All right, kill that. And then let's just Archive Trap. All right, they milled a bunch of stuff, pass the turn. So now they can Ozolith on more counters to Ballista. Another Urza Saga. All right. Ravager, that's rough. Ozolith onto here. All right, so we're going to take 3 down to 16, and then we're going to die next turn if we don't answer this. All right, so I can play the ring, and then they can move everything onto Ballista and just shoot us in our upkeep. So, what's the math on this? Ozolith, the Arcman Ravager, goes to 4 counters. Sack it, put 5 counters on Ballista. It's an 8/8. So then unless they have more artifacts to play, they only have 2 cards in their hand. I could EE for 2 and blast it right now, and then they'll just sack Ozolith and Ravager. So they'll sack Ozolith, this is at 3, and then they'll sack Ravager and put 3 here and there. This is at 6, which is a problem. If I EE for 0 and kill Ballista, they sack it in response. Arcman Ravager has 4 counters on it. Ozolith 6 counters. But at least Ballista isn't in play anymore, and then the ring protects us from the rest of it unless they have enough artifacts to go lethal. I guess the first thing I should do is cycle Fractured Sanity, because the other play is still available if I do that. All right, so cycle this, mills out some more scales, and then we draw a card. All right, so let's just play EE for 0, and I should just do it now, even though it's going to pop this EE as well, but this EE is not doing anything. So ping us down to 14, then sack it for the last one. All right, Ravager's at 4. They have to get another 10 counters on it to kill us this turn, or find Ballista. Play Hanger, but ooh, that's going to do it, isn't it? All right, well, yeah, we're dead then. And then they just sack everything onto it. Ravager becomes gigantic. So there was no way out of it, because even if I'd played the ring, then they would have just put a bunch of counters onto Ballista and then shot us in the upkeep. Yeah, all right. Game 3. I'm pretty sure this is still the correct loadout. The only question is, like, is Surgical wrong and I should just be playing Murderous Cuts to interact with them more? It's unlikely that I'll be able to mill them early enough to get, like, scales out of their deck. So maybe I just don't play Surgical, and instead I just play more Interaction. All right, let's go with that. On the play, game 3. 2 Archive Traps, Fractured Sanity, Drown. Well, so let's see. This represents a total of 40 cards milled, which is not enough to actually kill them. I do have Drown to interact to some degree, though. But I only get to interact on turn 3 once I Field of Ruin. So they have 53 cards, then it's 40, 23, or 27. And then if I don't cycle this, then that's 13 cards left. It's probably still correct to keep this. All right, land and then go. Forest, Hardened Scales, yeah. All right, fetch, grab Watery Grave, tapped. So I can hold up Drown, but I can't actually drown anything. So it is probably correct to just go Field of Ruin and then cycle Fractured Sanity. All right, pass the turn. Rising Canopy. Ballista for 2 counters. Well, this does cost 0, so I can actually kill it with Drown in the Loch next turn. All right, cycle this, and then we drew a land. So, all right, let's just go Island and then drown this in response to whatever else they try to put counters on it with. And then we can Archive Trap them next turn. Ancient Stirrings, okay. They found Urza's Saga. They're going to play the Saga. I can actually shoot this in response to that, and then they don't get to tap this for mana. But then they just have mana off of whatever they grab. Yeah, okay, that's fine. 2 mana, Ozolith. I'm pretty sure I'm still supposed to just drown the Ballista. So, all right, yeah, that resolves. All right, drown that. Then they'll just shoot me. I go to 17. Then Ballista is dead. Then back to us. The ring. Ooh, the ring. So they get to make a construct. I don't care if they do that. Yeah, so let's just play the ring. Fetch, grab a swamp, play the ring, draw a card. All right, pass back. Saga goes up to 2 counters. Now they have a lot of... Oh, Haywire Might. Okay, well... Yep, that happens. Zabaz with 3 counters. Ooh, EE on 1. So EE on 1, pop it. Both of these die. Do I have enough to field? I go Field of Ruin, kill this. Then I have 3 mana, and then I go EE on 1, blow both of these up. Yes, I do. Okay, so land, fetch, get an island, then pop this, grab another land. And I don't actually have to blow this up now, right? I can wait, cast this for 1, Archive Trap, milling a whole bunch of stuff, Archive Trap, milling a whole bunch of stuff, and then just pass with EE up. 2 mana, Hangerback Walker. All right, pop this now. Hangerback Walker enters as a 2/2, plays the Ozolith. All right, back to us. So we do need to find some more action. A land is not action. So if I just Fatal Push this now, then they make 2 Thopters and put 2 counters on the Ozolith. If I wait, then they can activate Hangerback in response and put 4 counters on Hangerback Walker. And then they make 4 Thopters and they get 4 counter. Yeah, so any which way you slice it, it's not good. Basically, I need to draw more action and not just lands. So, it's lethal very fast. Pop this, they get 2 Thopters, this gets 2 counters on it, they untap, and then they get to put 3 counters on a Thopter, plus another 2, so it becomes 7 power of damage just on what that is. I guess I just wait. So let's play a Swamp and then just pass. I guess this is less devastating as long as it's not being spread into multiple Thopters. Alright, they go to combat, they attack us for 2, that's fine. We go to 13. This is a sorcery speed activation, right? Yes, it is. Sack Horizon Canopy. Play Ancient Stirrings. They found Urza's Saga. Play Urza's Saga. Alright, I still don't push it. Drown in the Lock. That still doesn't really help. So next turn they make a Construct, or just put more counters here, but they didn't last turn. Alright, I guess we just pass it back. Saga goes to 2. Beginning of combat, so they're still not pumping this up. We take 2 from the Walker. We go to 11. Cast Ancient Stirrings. Arcbound Ravager. That's going to be nasty. Okay, so I guess we just drown this. Alright, so drown Ravager. Alright, there's Hedron Crab. So I can mill them for 6 and they go to 5 cards left in their deck. Alright, let's just do that now. Grab Watery Grave tapped, then mill another 3. Alright, Saga on 3 counters. They may not even have anything to fetch anymore, right? Depending on... I've milled a lot. Even if they do fetch something, that's actually probably good because it gets another card out of their deck. Alright, so they're just going to float a mana. Sure. Ozolith is legendary. They have... I don't know if they're out of Zabazes. That's 3... They've lost Haywire Might. They get Shadow Spear. Okay. Equipping Shadow Spear to the Hangerback. Alright, that's still pretty slow. So they attack us. We go to 7. Alright. Draw. Another Crab. Alright, well, let's play it. Pass the turn. They're down to 2 cards left in their deck. 2 mana. Ozolith here. Okay, if I shoot this in response, they make 2 Thopters and get 2 counters on the Ozolith. And then... what is the difference? So I can take another... So this will be a 5 power. I can take 5 down to 2. And then if they're still attacking with this next turn, I can just push it to not take damage. Whereas if I push it now, they get 2 Thopters, put 3 counters on the Thopter, and then they have a lethal Thopter next turn. All right, so yeah, that's fine. So I'll take 5 down to 2. All right, we're at 2. We just need to draw a land or a mill spell or anything. All right, there's a land. We won. All right, on to round number 4. Round 4 on the play. Let's see, we have 3 lands, Drown, Push, Fractured, Archive Trap. Seems alright. I will keep. So, Polluted Delta, pass the turn. Opponent plays Indatha Triumph, so they're probably elementals. Watergrave tapped. Now, unfortunately, I still can't drown anything that they do, so let's just Island and then hold up, and then just cycle Fractured Sanity, I guess. I guess if they search first with a fetch land, I can Archive Trap and then drown. Yeah. Alright, so they just didn't play anything, so we'll cycle Fractured Sanity. Opponent mills over Solitude, Delighted Halfling, and 2 lands. Fetch with Flooded Strand. So they're fetching now because they realize we're mill. Alright, Archive Trap. Milled over Wrenn, Omnath, Teferi, a bunch of random elemental stuff. Alright. Ooh, the One Ring. So, Ruin Crab, play a land, mill another 3, hold up Drown in the Lock. Pass the turn. Cast Leyline Binding. Do I want to drown that? Probably not. Yeah, it resolves. You take my crab. I probably want to drown Teferi or something that they're going to play this turn. 3rd land. They play nothing. Alright, well, I can just play the ring. That seems fine. Alright, cast the ring. Ring resolves. I'm not going to activate it immediately because if they have binding, they can bind it in response to deny us the card draw. Plays a land. Plays their own ring, probably. No, Omnath. No. Prismatic Ending. Alright, draw a card. We drew a Delta. Alright, well, we have triple Drown in the Lock now, so let's just pass. Plays Otawara. 5 mana for Norn. Alright, well, let's counter that. And then let's just go fetch tapped Watery Grave. Alright, a Boro. And then pass it back. Opponent cast. Omnath. Drown. Back to us. Scalding Tarn. Alright, just pass it back. Opponent casts the ring. Drown. We do eventually have to get some action going. Fatal Push is not action, so we'll pass it back. Opponent casts. Teferi. Well, we have no answer to that, so yes, that resolves. They're bouncing their binding. Cast Prismatic Ending on the crab. Sure. Alright, there's another crab. So let's play the crab. Let's play Scalding Tarn, trigger the crab. They mill another 3. Alright, and then we will just wait to fetch this for the binding. Plus is Teferi. Alright, they cast nothing. Back to us. Now they're going to bind it on upkeep, or they're going to Solitude on upkeep. Sure. Fetch. Grab an island, trigger the crab, mill over another 3 cards. We can't Fatal Push the Solitude. Alright, well, there's another crab. If I run it out now, it just gets binded again. So, I guess I just pass the turn. 16 cards left in their deck. They will kill us before we mill them out. So have to find more mill spells. Oh, I guess I could have bounced a Boro, but I have plenty of mana. There's no reason to at the moment. Like if I draw second crab, I can get it twice. Yeah, all right. Well, there's Fractured Sanity. They only have 15 cards left in the deck. All right, cast this. Target you. Mill 14 down to 1. Let's see, what else do they have? They have a second Elesh Norn in their deck. Otherwise, pretty stock. All right, so tap a Boro, bounce a Boro, then cast Hedron Crab. All right, got game 1 against Elementals. So I think I want Murderous Cut so that I can kill Omnath and Norn and whatnot. And I actually think I do want Surgical Effects because you can take out certain key cards in their deck that slows them way down. So if you take out like the Ring and Omnath, they're way, way slower. That being said, I probably don't want that many of them. So Fatal Push is only really good for killing Omnath. And then it's useless against everything else except, I guess, Delighted Halfling, but it's mostly bad. EE does mostly nothing as well. Crypt Incursion is, I guess it can buy some time maybe, but that's not great. Also, their lands matter a lot, and if we can keep them off of Renin 6, then we can start blasting their lands apart, and then they'll lose colors eventually. So let's see. Surgical, Extirpate, and I don't think I want to make any more swaps. Yeah, so the only push targets they have are Omnath and Delighted Halfling. This is probably fine here. I guess they also have, they'll probably bring in Endurance, so that's another thing I got to deal with, which means if possible we want to mill it and then get rid of it. All right, let's throw this back in here. These crabs are also much worse than normal because they have Solitude, Leyline Binding, Prismatic. They just have so many ways of killing them, but we can't just take out all of our mill action, so let's run this back. All right, game 2 on the draw versus Elementals. We have only one land and nothing else really going for this hand, so let's mull this. All right, 2 lands with Ruin Crab, Drown, Surgical. All right, keep and put back Murderous Cut. So maybe the crab isn't actually good in this hand. If I go like, let's say they go land and then I go Island Crab, right? And then they untap. If they just kill it, that's fine. If they play Renin 6, well, if they play Renin 6, I have no way of getting around it anyway. So let's put back, I guess Murderous Cut is the card that matters the least until later in the game. So I'll put that back. Flooded Strand, fetch. Steam Vents tapped. All right. So Island, Ruin Crab, go. If they play Renin 6 and try to pick a land up, I'll just Surgical it. Forest, Renin 6. Surgical in response to them trying to pick the land up. All right. Their hand is Endurance, Veto, Land, Ring. And the other land they have is not a fetch land. So take this, take this, take this, take this. And then what did they bring in? So there's the Endurance in their hand. They have 2 more Endurances. They brought an Emrakul, but not the Mill Emrakul. So basically it's, all right, they took out Norn. They only have 1 Solitude. All right. So it's actually bad to mill them right now because then Renin 6 can pick lands up. But if I don't mill them, then Drown in the Loch doesn't work. What an awkward hand. Yeah, milling them gives them more lands. I think I just wait on it until, okay, so let's say they're pretty far away from having lands anyway. Oh, so the Ruined Crab is going to trigger regardless. All right, well, it's just got to happen. So trigger, they mill 3 cards. There was not a land. All right, and then just pass with Drown up. All right, Rogren tapped. Renin 6 just goes up. All right, back to us. They still don't have double green for Endurance either. All right, let's just start Tasha's-ing them. Island, trigger. Maybe I should have taken out Tasha's. They have a lot of expensive stuff in their deck, like Leyline Binding. All right, that got lands into the graveyard. That's unfortunate. What's the most likely thing they play next turn? The Ring? I think if they play the Ring, that's actually fine. All right, Tasha's. They exiled 9 cards. A bunch of lands. We hit the Emrakul. All right, so pass it back. They don't actually have that many cards in their graveyard for Endurance right now anyways. Picks up a land. All right, they found Teferi, so they're going to bounce our Crab. Misty Rainforest, fetch, get Indotha Triome. Ooh, the Ring. All right, I can resolve the Ring while their shields are down so Veto can't get rid of it. Let's just do that. Ring. Then draw with the Ring and pass. And we drew Manamo. That is fantastic. All right, Renin 6, pick a land up. 4 mana for Omnath, plus Teferi. Play a Plains. All right, what's the best move here? I can't drown anything anymore because of Teferi. I guess I can just drown Omnath, right? If they have Endurance, they can Endurance in response. And then Drown fizzles. They have to pitch a green spell to do Endurance, which they might or might not have. They have 3 other cards in their hand. So if I Ring... All right, so let's get rid of Leyline Binding first. Let's just Surgical the Leyline Binding to get another Leyline Binding out of their hand, if possible. All right, so Surgical, target Leyline Binding, pay the life, and we'll see what they do. All right, so their hand is Endurance, 2 lands, Veto, 2 rings. So take this, take this, take this. So they cannot Endurance right now. All right, what's the optimal move? It's, so I can draw with the ring because they can't get rid of it. So draw with the ring. Archive Trap. So Ruin Crab, play Manamo, mill 3, drown the Omnath, and then I have 2 mana left. I can also Archive Trap them, but then they still have Endurance next turn. So Archive Trapping them right now doesn't make sense. I just need to get this Endurance out of their hand. It's such an issue, and I can't counter it because Teferi's in play. So I want to cast Tasha's and Drown, which means I have to play this Manamo without milling them. On the other hand, I could just untap the ring and draw more cards, and that still leaves me with Drown mana. So I go Crab, Manamo, but I need blue for that, so I can't tap the field for that. It is 4 cards in their graveyard right now. So maybe the best move is just draw a bunch of more cards with the ring. All right, so they also have Wrenn and 6 ready to Emblem, but they have nothing to... I guess they have Prismatic to get back, so they're going to be able to Prismatic our ring. All right, Drown Omnath, and play Manamo, and then just pass it back. So if they want to get our ring off the board now, they have to ult Wrenn, discard a land, pay 4 mana for Prismatic, then we get to draw in response to that. Yeah, Remblem plays an island. Right, Prismatic targeting the ring, so Manamo untap the ring. Draw with the ring in response, so we get another 3 cards. All right, and what they discard? They discarded the Misty. All right, so Endurance is still active, so maybe I can mill over another Endurance and then extirpate it. That sounds like a plan. So let's go Crab, Crab, and then Island. Trigger both. Seiju. All right, so we didn't hit Endurance. I can Field of Ruin them and then potentially get it. Or I can just cast Tasha's, exile a bunch of more cards out of their deck, and then they're probably forced to use Endurance on their upkeep to not die, in all likelihood. I guess I can also extirpate Prismatic out of their deck so they can't keep flashing the Prismatics back via the Remblem. That sounds pretty good too. All right, so let's go Tasha's, and then they're going to Veto. Yeah. Then extirpate away Prismatic Ending. I guess that lets them have just Veto for the rest of the game as well, but it lets us keep our crabs around. Maybe I am supposed to extirpate Veto. Yeah, I can't let them just veto the ring. All right, so let's extirpate Veto. All right, take this. And they don't have much left to win the game with. All right, pass the turn. Plus Teferi. And then they're going to Prismatic the crabs. Play the ring. Draw with the ring. They're going shields down on the Endurance, eh? All right, Prismatic the last crab. Well, we can resolve one of our rings now, which sounds like the best course of action. They can always Prismatic it on their turn, but that's fine. All right, ring. Draw with ring. And then let's just get the max draws out of the ring now. Draw more. All right. And then just pass the turn back. So although it's a back and forth battle, they're not putting any pressure on us at the moment. So we will eventually mill them out. Wrenn and 6. They put Misty Rainforest back in their hand. So now they're going to Prismatic the ring. Yeah, Prismatic the ring. Plus Teferi. They only have 12 cards left in their deck. Can I get them off of double green? I think I might be able to. So let's go Crab and Fetch Land. Target you, then fetch an island, trigger this, mill you again, and then, yeah, Field of Ruin, the Endotha Triome, and then they mill again, and then they don't have double green, so unless they have a green card in hand to evoke, then they will be milled out. There's another Endurance. All right, let's cycle this, or do we just play Ring again? So if I play the Ring, I guess I can Archive Trap them now, right? Yeah, okay. Archive Trap you, then play the Ring, then draw with the Ring. So even if they have a way to get, even if they have a green card to pitch to Endurance, they have to do it on upkeep, and then they lose all the lands in their graveyard to get back with Wrenn and 6. All right, evoking Endurance, exiling Delighted Halfling, sure. So they at least lose, yeah, so they lose the Prismatics in their graveyard and the lands in their graveyard, at the very least. Unfortunately, they do get to go up to 8 cards. Bounces our ring back to the hand. Prismatic Ending on the crab. Now they have Prismatic Ending back in their graveyard. Land, fetch, getting Endotha tapped, getting a land back with Wrenn and 6. Then they go to cleanup, discard Misty. All right, that's another crab. So they don't have Leyline Binding in their deck anymore, so I can... They do have Veto in their deck, though. So I probably do just need to try to resolve the ring. All right, does this resolve? It did resolve. All right, draw with the ring. Drown doesn't help with Teferi on the board, so let's untap this. Draw more with the ring. Ooh, I got Surgical, so I can Surgical their Prismatics away now. Excellent. All right, let's do this. Opponent flashes in Eladamri's Call to go grab Endurance, and then they're going to invoke Endurance or evoke Endurance to save this. All right, Endurance, pitching, Halfling. All right, Endurance triggers. Ooh, but they stacked it so that Endurance is left in the graveyard. All right, well, I could play the crab. It's probably better to just cycle Fractured Sanity. So let's just play this and then pass. All right, their ring is on 3. They draw up to 10 cards. Playing Omnath, up to 10 cards again. I'm down 2 Tashas, right? So I need to get more Tashas going to just counteract this endurance plan. All right, Omnath, Fetch Shock, add mana to the pool. A new Teferi. They bounce our ring back. Play Delighted Halfling. Run in 6+ as the land back to their hand. All right, cycle Fractured Sanity. They milled over another Endurance. All right, our turn. They have to go to cleanup. All right, what's in their exile? So they have no vetoes anymore, so they can't counter anything we do. So I can just replay the ring. We also drew Tasha's. That's very helpful. All right, let's just go ring trigger. All right, draw a card with the ring. Another Tasha's. That might probably do it. So let's cast Tasha's. 12 cards entered the exile. We exiled one of the endurances, so they have one more endurance left in their deck, I believe. All right, well, they only have one card in their deck, so all right, we won the match. On to round number 5. All right, we are on the draw. I have Crab, double Fractured Sanity. That seems okay. We get redraws with the Sanities. All right, I guess I keep this. Misty Rainforest, Fetch, Breeding Pool, Shock. Suspends Crashing Footfalls. Okay. Well, I'm going to run out Hedron Crab, and then if they use their burn spells on it, so be it. Cast Hedron Crab, go. And then next turn, if the crab survives, I can have Drown in the lockup. Opponent plays tapped Ketria Triumph. All right, our crab survives. We drew the ring. Misty, trigger, Milieu. They milled over Murktide, Dead Gone Land. All right, well, let's fetch now. Shock and Watery Grave. Mill another 3. They milled Force, Ice, Fire and Ice. All right, just pass with Drown up, and then if they don't cascade, I'll just cycle Fractured Sanity. They, of course, do have Violent Opposite instant speed, but I can't just never cast or cycle anything. Mountain. All right, cycle away Dead Gones, Lorien Revealed. Is this really stock now? All right, they didn't cast Violent Outburst, so I'm guessing they just don't have it. So let's play Minamo, trigger, target you. We've got one more turn of the Footfalls, so let's just pass, still with Drown up. Surely they're going to do something on the end step. Violent Outburst, okay. They cast Footfalls, and then we're going to Drown it. All right, they did not have Force Negation, proving that they don't always have it. This goes down to 1 counter, right? All right, Misty, passing it back to us. The Rhinos has one more turn, so I could just play the ring. That's probably the correct move. The alternative is to do what? Cast Fractured Sanity. They go down to 21 cards left in their deck. All right, regardless of what happens, I'm playing an island. Milieu. I know some people in the Mill Discord were experimenting with the ring, but a ringless list won one of the Saturday challenges, so the jury's still out on it. Yeah, I don't know if we know for sure. All right, well, they had Violent Outburst, so they're doing it now. That makes me much more inclined to play the ring. Yeah, all right, so that resolves. They get 2 Rhinos, then we mill them. Fetching with Misty. Okay. I guess, yeah, they have to fetch now in case I mill over their only hits. Tap that. Finish milling. All right, well, that turns on Archive Trap, so let's just mill them some more. Mill. How many Footfalls have we hit? 2 with the one on suspense, so they have 1 more. Yeah, well, I don't want to take 8 from these Rhinos. And this doesn't seem that good. Well, let's actually see. So I played a land this turn, so I can go Fractured Sanity. How many forces are gone? 1, 2. So I can Fractured right now, put them to 3 cards left in their deck, and then they die next turn when I play a land. And I don't die to this hit, and then even if they don't die, I can play the ring when the other one comes off suspend. Okay, let's do that. Cast this. They have Force now. Okay. Well, at least that's ring past the Force next turn. So pass to you, opponent. So I don't know if they run all 4 forces, but that's 3 down. So then this Rhinos comes off suspend. Then they have lethal next turn, but we have the ring. All right, Rhinos. We take 8, go to 9. Ooh, another ring. All right, well, play the ring. The ring resolved. Let's draw a card. Fatal Push. All right, let's get Field of Ruin into play now. Milieu. Milled out some more cards. All right, pass the turn. All right, they have no attacks, obviously. They have 3 cards in hand. Ring takes us down to 8. So we're going to 100% play the other ring. So let's draw. And then I can go Minamo, untap this ring, and then play a new ring. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to play this Delta regardless. So Delta, target you. 2 copies of Mystical Dispute. Fetch, get a Swamp, trigger, target you. They're at 6 cards. I can cycle this and put them, or I can just cast it, but then I can't play the ring. So the question is basically, do they have a counter spell? I guess if they have a counter spell, it's overwhelmingly likely to be Mystical Dispute. So if I just cast this right now, they probably die. So cast this and go blue, colorless. Blue, colorless. Oh no, I need another blue. Yeah, blue. Does this resolve? It did work. All right. So let's see. I want all the extraction effects to take the Rhinos out of their graveyards. They're going to bring in Endurance, so I also need to deal with that. Crypt Incursion. How many creatures do they play? Shardless. Shardless Fury. They might take Fury out, though. Subtlety. They might take that out also. I definitely don't want 1-for-1 removal, so push is bad. EE is good, though. So bring in EE. And then what's the next worst card? Their mana costs are generally high because they're a Cascade deck, so Tasha's is probably not very good. Then what? They don't have that many creatures. Let's bring in 1 Soul Guide just for their endurance turns. All right, let's throw this back. So we have 2 crabs and 2 fields, drown, 1 ring. So it's a bit awkward, but I think I can keep this hand. What's my play? It's go turn 1, land, crab, and then it's land, play the other crab, or it's play the other crab, then land. If I find any other colored land, I can play Drown in the Loch. All right, let's keep. Opponent plays Ketria Triome. All right, Delta, Fetch and Shock, Watery Grave, play a crab, pass. Plays Wooded Foothills. Dead Gone, all right. Our crab dies, that's fine. Well, that is a Delta. So now I guess I just hold up Drown in the Loch. Alternatively, I go crab, fetch, but then they can just cascade, put Rhinos into play. So yeah, let's just hold Drown in the Loch up. Opponent fetches, grabs Stomping Ground, tapped, plays Misty Rainforest, fetches, island, passes it back to us. Okay, well there's a swamp. So now I'm going to go, I have to play this first, right? Before the crab, because if I just play crab, they can Violent Outburst in response. So swamp, play the crab, pass the turn. Cycling Lorien Revealed, Breeding Pool, Shocked In. All right, they're passing it back to us. Another Drown in the Loch, that's very helpful. So Field of Ruin, trigger the crab. They're responding with Violent Outburst, okay. Footfalls will attempt to counter this. So I guess I'm gonna fetch now, get an island. And then I should probably Field of Ruin now, right? Because, so they have Force or Mystical Dispute. If they have a Mystical Dispute, I can't pay for it anyway. So the only way fielding now backfires is if they have double Mystical Dispute. So yeah, let's just hit this, grab an island. All right, trigger, mill some more. We did mill a Footfalls. All right, drown this. And then let's see if they have Mystical Dispute or Force. All right, they did have Mystical Dispute. So I can't pay it. And then everything else resolves. So there's the Rhinos. We do have double rings, so we do have some time to get through this. All right, well, we take 8 and go to 8. They did keep Fury in their deck. Interesting. Plays Otawara. Plays Murktide. All right, well, I guess let's see if the ring resolves. Trigger, mill some more. All right, ring. Does this go through or not? No, they have Force Negation. All right. On to game 3. I think this is still correct. Yeah, all right, this is still fine. Let's submit this. All right, game 3 on the play. Double crab, fetch land, and multiple surgicals. This is a fantastic hand to have against them. Definitely keep. Opponent mulls to 6. Run out the Ruin Crab first because it doesn't die to their shocks. All right, island, Ruin Crab, pass turn. Opponent plays Foothills, passes to us. All right, play Hedron Crab. Fetch. If they have Mystical Dispute, they can dispute this, I guess. Breeding Pool. Shocked In. All right, they are Mystical Disputing it. Sure. Can't pay for that. All right, let's just start milling then. Trigger. They hit Endurance. Excellent. We're definitely getting that out of there. So pay. Let's go find a Watery Grave. Shock this in. Mill you. All right. Most important card to hit is probably Endurance. I guess I can hit both of the Cascade cards out of their deck. That might be good. Yeah, that might be good. So let's extirpate. It's so tempting to do that. If they have Endurance, they can respond to this. Okay, let's extirpate Endurance. All right, hit Endurance. They can't respond to this. All right, they have an Endurance in their hand, so that was good. So let's get this and this. And their hand is Shardless, Mystical, Blubbity Blue. Okay, so set a stop in their draw step so that I can take Shardless out of their hand. What's in the rest of their deck? Burn spells, Fury, Force, Fire, Ice, and they have 2 more Murktides. They have Commandeer as well. So if I don't Surgical now and they draw exactly Commandeer, they can exile the rest of the cards out of their hand. But that's probably a fine trade. All right, so let's just say okay there. What is this? Insult to Injury. Damage can't be prevented. If a source you control deal damage this turn, deals double that. Or get it back from your graveyard to shock something. All right, then pass it back. Stop in the draw step. Surgical away, Shardless Agent. All right, they just drew another land. Okay, so they fetch shock and their hand is Dispute Island Misty. Ooh, another Ruin Crab, which they're going to oh, they just let it through, eh? I thought they would dispute that for sure. All right, triggers. Mill, mill, mill. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Misty. Fetch. So the correct move is to fetch now so that I don't have Archive Trap on later turns, I guess. Yeah. We drew another crab, but I can't get it through Misty without playing the land first, but it's probably more important to get it through Mystical Dispute. So let's just go land, triggers, and then play the crab, and then pass. All right, they have 20 cards left in their deck. And we have nothing, but they have almost nothing as well. Plays the island. All right, back to us. Well, if I play the ring now, they just counter it. So let's try to wait for them to tap out for something. All right, pass it back. Another land. No Furies, though. Back to us. We drew another ring. Okay, now I'm inclined to just play this, have it get countered, and then play it again next turn. Ring. Force a negation. Okay, pass the turn. So they still have Mystical Dispute in their hand. Plays a Misty. All right, island. Mill 9 cards. Milled over one of their Commandeers. Murktide. All right, go ahead. Opponent dead gone's the crab, sure. And they pass it back to us. Ooh, extirpate. So I can extirpate the Mystical Disputes and then just play the ring. All right, let's do that. Extirpate, choosing Mystical Dispute. Take this. So their hand is just a land. Play the ring. Draw with the ring. Drew Drown in the Lock, pass the turn. So their hand is Wooded Unknown card. Opponent plays. They drew the Fury, so they get to kill one of our crabs now. But we're very much ahead of them. All right, ring trigger, go to 14. Draw more cards. Another ring. So let's just go, probably just drown that and then fetch lands. Fetch land, mill some more cards. And then I'll just drown this now, it's fine. All right, pass the turn. They are passing it back. All right, let's just fetch, get a Watery Grave tapped. And now we have another fetch land in our hand, so we will finish milling them out on our turn. Ring trigger, go to 11. Draw. All right, let's play a fetch land. I should have more islands to fetch, right? Yeah, okay. Trigger. All right, stop on upkeep, fetch. Grab another island. Finish milling you. We did it! All right, 4-1 with mill. So, okay, there's some debate about whether the ring is better in this deck, or I guess other cards. Maybe it's Visions of Beyond still. I think it's good in this deck. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's same old mill you've seen a million times before, so not much to say about the deck.